This is Land of Havilah, 2 Samuel 23, and another new topic. Verse 1. Now these are the last words of David. Comment: David's not about to die right now, so when it says these are his last words, it has more the feeling of a last testament. He's getting old and he wants to give credit to God while he has the chance, while he's still of sound mind. First, as in any last testament, he'll identify himself, still in verse 1. David, the son of Jesse, says, the man who was raised on high, says, the anointed of the God of Jacob, the sweet psalmist of Israel. Comment: David identifies himself 5 ways: by name, by the name of his father Jesse, as the one whom God raised up to a high place, as the anointed of God, which means as God's chosen king, and as the sweet psalmist of Israel. Verse 2. Yahweh's Spirit spoke by me. His word was on my tongue. Comment: here's another identifier. He was a prophet. Yahweh's Spirit spoke to David. Yahweh's words were on his tongue. During his lifetime, the prophets Nathan and Gad delivered the word of God to David, but there hasn't been much mention of David's own prophetic utterances. But he was one of the most important prophets of the Old Testament, as we see in the Psalms. He spoke of everything from life in general to the Christ to the end times. One of David's prophetic words is coming up right now, verse 3. The God of Israel said, the Rock of Israel spoke to me, one who rules over men righteously, who rules in the fear of God, shall be as the light of the morning when the sun rises, a morning without clouds, when the tender grass springs out of the earth through clear shining after rain. Comment: these would be good words to put on the wall of the Oval Office and in the Capitol building. One who rules over men righteously, who rules in the fear of God, shall be as the light of the morning when the sun rises, a morning without clouds, when the tender grass springs out of the earth through clear shining after rain. It's a Camelot where there's plenty of rain, but it only rains at night, the best and most beautiful of all conditions. This is the type of age a godly ruler ushers in. Verse 5. Isn't my house so with God? Yet he has made with me an everlasting covenant, ordered in all things and sure, for it is all my salvation and all my desire, although he doesn't make it grow. Comment: the last phrase doesn't make sense in this translation. Other translations use the same words in different order, and suddenly it makes sense. Instead of he doesn't make it grow, they say something to the effect, does he not make it grow? Same words, different order. In other words, isn't God responsible for the increase of everything good, everything I've desired? Hasn't he grown it all up right before my eyes? Verse 6. But the ungodly will be as thorns to be thrust away, because they can't be taken with the hand. But the man who touches them must be armed with iron and the staff of a spear. They will be utterly burned with fire in their place. Comment: an ungodly man is worse than useless. You can't even get near him unless you're ready to defend yourself. This is in contrast to the godly ruler who brings a beautiful day. Speaking of an inspired choice of words, the ungodly man will be utterly burned with fire. The rest of the chapter is like the credits that roll at the end of a movie. David recognizes 37 of his military heroes by name and tells several anecdotes about their exploits. Some we know about, but most of them are unfamiliar. Verse 8. These are the names of the mighty men whom David had: Josheb-Basshebeth, a Tachemonite, chief of the captains. The same was Adino the Eznite, against 800 slain at one time. After him was Eleazar the son of Dodai, the son of an Ahohite, one of the 3 mighty men with David, when they defied the Philistines who were there gathered together to battle, and the men of Israel had gone away. He arose and struck the Philistines until his hand was weary, and his hand froze to the sword. And Yahweh worked a great victory that day, and the people returned after him only to take plunder. Comment: Josheb-Basshebeth gets top credit as first mentioned and as chief of the captains, but strangely we haven't heard this name. It could be that this is really Joab, because he was David's top military man 99% of the time, and we don't find Joab anywhere else on this list. Also, there were a total of 3 mighty men, according to verse 9, but the list only identifies 2 of them, so it seems David's leaving Joab's name off the list and not explicitly identifying him as one of the 3 mighty men, because he killed Abner, Absalom, and Amasa in cold blood. Josheb-Basshebeth means sitting in the seat, so it seems apparent the term is the description of a man more than the name of a man. He sits in the seat or holds the office of chief of captains. So my money says Josheb-Basshebeth is really Joab, and David didn't come out and say his name because he had mixed feelings about him. On the one hand, he had to give him credit, but on the other, it pained him to mention him by name. Adino and Eleazar are two of the three mighty men, and both the names are new to us. Adino killed 800 in one battle. In the case of Eleazar, there was a time when everyone retreated from the enemy except him. He won the victory by himself. His fingers got so stiff from swinging his sword he had trouble loosening his grip when it was all over. His hand was frozen to the sword. The part about the hand is history, and it's a memorable metaphor for not growing weary of well-doing. Galatians 6:9. May our hands be frozen to the sword. And like Adino, we can face 800 if we have to. Coming up, Shammah did something similar. Verse 11. After him was Shammah the son of Agi, a Hararite. The Philistines had gathered together into a troop, where there was a plot of ground full of lentils, and the people fled from the Philistines. But he stood in the middle of the plot and defended it, and killed the Philistines, and Yahweh worked a great victory. Comment: on this occasion, Shammah was the only one who didn't retreat. He stood his ground and won the battle by himself, God helping him, of course, which is the point. Now coming up, an anecdote about something the three mighty men did as a team. This took place when David was on the run from Saul, staying in the cave of Adullam, when men were first starting to gather around him. 1 Samuel 22:1 and 2. Verse 13. 3 of the 30 chief men went down and came to David in the harvest time to the cave of Adullam, and the troop of the Philistines was encamped in the valley of Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. David longed and said, "Oh, that someone would give me water to drink from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate." Comment: David was living in the cave of Adullam, men gathering around him, hiding from Saul, homesick, feeling like the fugitive that he was, and at the same time the Philistines were occupying the land, including his hometown of Bethlehem. In a statement of fantasy, David said, "I wish somebody would bring me some water from the well at the gate of Bethlehem." He didn't intend for anybody to actually do it. But the three mighty men wanted to surprise him, just to be men and just to be mighty, and just to show their respect and commitment. Verse 16. The three mighty men broke through the army of the Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David, but he would not drink it, but poured it out to Yahweh. He said, "Be it far from me, Yahweh, that I should do this. Isn't this the blood of the men who risked their lives to go?" Therefore he would not drink it. The three mighty men did these things. Comment: David showed he didn't intend for anybody to actually do it by pouring it out. Apparently that was the first of the great deeds of the mighty men, and one of the most memorable. The three of them provided an auspicious sign to David of how God would support and provide during that difficult period, and how he would go on to preserve David the rest of his life. God bless the mighty men, and bless God the provider. Verse 18. Abishai, the brother of Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was chief of the three. He lifted up his spear against 300 and killed them, and had a name among the three. Wasn't he the most honorable of the three? Therefore he was made their captain. However, he wasn't included as one of the three. Comment: Abishai was chief of the three, captain of the three, most honorable of the three, but not one of the three, which is a little strange to decipher. So he gets a lot of credit, but not full status as one of the three. Perhaps this is another intentional slight in terms of recognition, because Abishai was complicit in killing Abner, 2 Samuel 3:30, which sorely displeased David, 2 Samuel 3:39. Now coming up, some of the exploits of Benaiah, commander of the Cherethites and Pelethites, the elite guard. Verse 20. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man of Kabzeel who had done mighty deeds, killed the 2 sons of Ariel of Moab. He also went down and killed a lion in the middle of a pit in a time of snow. He killed a huge Egyptian, and the Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but he went down to him with a staff and plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand and killed him with his own spear. Benaiah the son of Jehoiada did these things, and had a name among the 3 mighty men. He was more honorable than the 30, but he didn't attain to the 3. David set him over his guard. Comment: Benaiah wasn't as lofty as the 3, but more lofty than 30 of the men coming up. Verse 24. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Comment: he was one of the 30, meaning he was one of the 30 mighty men who will get recognition coming up, but only by listing. They were elite, these 30, but not as elite as the names already mentioned. Still in verse 24. Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem, Shammah the Harodite, Elika the Harodite, Helez the Paltite, Ira the son of Ikesh the Tekoite, Abiezer the Anathothite, Mabune the Hushathite, Zalmon the Ahohite, Mahare the Netophathite, Heleb the son of Baanah the Netophathite, Ittai the son of Ribai of Gibeah of the children of Benjamin, Benaiah a Pirathonite, Hidai of the brooks of Gaash, Abialban the Arbathite, Asmaveth the Barhumite, Eliabah the Shaalbanite, the sons of Jashan, Jonathan, Shammah the Hararite, Ahiam the son of Sherar the Ararite, Eliphelet the son of Ahasbai, the son of the Maacathite, Eliam the son of Ahithophel the Gilonite, Hezro the Carmelite, Parare the Arbite, Egal the son of Nathan of Zobah, Bani the Gadite, Zelek the Ammonite, Nahare the Beerothite, armor-bearers to Joab the son of Zeruiah, Ira the Ithrite, Gareb the Ithrite, and Uriah the Hittite, 37 in all. Comment: many of the 30 were from places we can't identify, but of the places we can identify, 5 were from Judah, 3 from Benjamin, 1 from Ephraim, 1 from Dan, 1 from Gad, and from foreign countries, 1 from Zobah and 1 from Ammon. 2 Samuel 24 is next at landofhavilah.net, 2 Samuel 24.